And up next, we have Krista Magaw. She is the Executive Director of the Tecumseh Land Trust. And are you on, Krista?
I am. I think that maybe I need anyone to start my video. Here we go. All right.
Excellent.
And we're going to play a brief film about Glass Farm, which is a natural area, a little nature preserve that we've created right here in Yellow Springs. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about it afterwards. If you heard Doug Talamy today, it really is a great example of the kind of thing that he was talking about, that whether you have a lot of land or not, you can participate in a way that is really enjoyable in creating a nature preserve in your own backyard. Thanks, anyone.
Welcome to Glass Farm. This is one of the projects that we have worked on with the Village of Yellow Springs in the last few years. It's one of the few restoration projects that we've participated in, and we've really learned a lot from doing this. Glass Farm is a property that belongs to the village. There's a solar array at one end of it. There's this natural area at the easternmost side that essentially was built as a detention basin a few years ago. But it's on wetland soil, so wetland plants and birds began to come back, and a family of beavers kind of adopted the area as well, and it became a really good place for people to watch wildlife. The village came to us and said, well, what about taking this to the next step and making this into a really nice natural area for people to enjoy? We want to make peace with the beavers and be able to have people enjoy it as well as beavers. And so a committee began to try to figure out how to help the beavers and the people coexist peacefully. And then beyond that, we looked at taking out some invasive pears that had really taken over the main meadow area, the main prairie area. We also planted a lot of native trees in the area. This is definitely a great example of land that people love and enjoy. Neighbors use it a lot of dog walking, a lot of early morning walks, a lot of picture taking, and the neighbors help to keep it in good shape.
Well, thank you. I just took a brief look here to see who all we've got. It looks like there's a good number of people who are from Yellow Springs, some of whom have actually been a part of this project, and even the work with the beavers that really got it started. And then also some people from a lot of other places too. So it's really good to be with you. It's been a really great conference so far. I am one of those people from a local conservancy or local land trust that Doug Talamy mentioned today that eagerly want to work with volunteers. And you do not have to have a whole lot of specialized knowledge. You don't have to be an expert, as he pointed out, to be able to really make a difference in the natural habitat in the area where you live. This has been a really great experience for us. We work with private landowners. Doug pointed out the large amount of land east of the Mississippi that's privately owned. And so if we're really going to create better habitat, we've got to do it in conjunction with those private landowners. We work with farmers. And in fact, I was on a call this morning with several farmers who are interested in a regenerative program that's some very basic good soil practices that is beginning to attract some carbon credit interest. It's a good support system for farmers. I'm very excited about it. Some of our local farmers have have joined into that program. And we're actually going to have one of our local farmers talk about that program at the conference in March called Growing Green that we co-sponsor with Agraria every spring. So I hope some of you will be able to check that out too. This neighborhood has been growing up around a property that was owned by the Village of Yellow Springs that there was much controversy about the use of. There's a need for housing in Yellow Springs. There was a plan to put some housing there. Then there was a plan to put a prairie there, but that didn't really work out. So it was out of agriculture, and Calgary pears traveled across the street from the development that was nearby and pretty much occupied the whole area that is a prairie today. And this made it much more difficult to try to create a pleasant natural area on this property. But we were able to do it with the help of a Clean Ohio grant. I think there's a lot of states that have similar programs, and certainly there's some federal programs that can help you do this kind of work, often through Fish and Wildlife and then other private organizations like Pheasants Forever. There are wetland soils on this property, and interestingly enough, what really was constructed as a detention basin initially began to attract wetland plants and animals. The birds got a lot of people's attention, and then the beavers were like a pretty exciting phenomenon. But also, beavers are often not very well regarded by people. And so the fact that a group of people came together to figure out how to coexist with them and still have the benefit of the retention basin, essentially, of the reconstructed kind of wetland that was present. Since then, we've had all kinds of youth groups, not so much on this COVID year, but a lot of different volunteer groups that just want to get out there, get their hands dirty, learn something about nature and about native plants and native animals. Have a lot of photographers out there, some rare birds. The king rail, I think, is one that was sighted there, and I think it was one of the first times it had actually been sighted in this part of the state. So it's really attracted a lot of birders, which is pretty exciting. We have a lot of volunteer work days there and are doing socially distanced practices. Seems to be working very well. It is a lot of fun. We're all learning together. I definitely am enjoying this aspect of my job. And we appreciate working with local governments who are interested in this kind of a project. There are some other land trusts in other places, other parts of the country. In Ohio, Western Reserve is one of those in the northeastern part of Ohio that are using land banking to acquire land to create natural areas. And that's a good way to get access to land. Makes a whole lot of sense to involve neighbors. Our neighbors have really just come along and sort of claim different aspects of maintenance of trails, of invasives removal. It's really been a pretty phenomenal effort that we've been happy to be a part of. We're soon going to be doing kind of an ongoing annual management plan that would get repeated from year to year. And so we'll kind of have a pattern that takes some kind of a organic form over time. During the spring and summer, with people socially isolating, it was amazing how many people made use of this property to keep body and soul together. We have gotten so many sweet comments from people who said that they just really appreciated the space, the sounds, the healing force of nature on this property. And it truly has been rewarding to see the transformation and to be able to give people solace at a time like this. We also have certified the property as a National Wildlife Federation wildlife habitat, and that's a part of a Yellow Springs wide effort that again has been, I think, a part of the healing for us this last year, being able to get outside in the spring and begin to see those perennial plants come back, and at the same time to learn more about which of those are native plants and what are the benefits of those plants. What do they host? Who do they host? So we, in a very short period of time, we're able to achieve that and really look forward to the ongoing educational benefits that are a part of that. We also planted some trees on the Glass Farm Conservation Area around the kind of the edges of the property. Certainly taken out a lot of invasives in addition to the pear. But we have planted a fair number of native oaks. And certainly, again, very reinforcing to hear Doug Tallamy talk about what a tremendous host plant oaks are to such a variety of insects that feed such a variety of birds that just make it an important place to the entire ecosystem that is around it. Just a little bit more to say about land trusts and conservancies. We, definitely have a lot of opportunities for people with no skills, lots of skills, people who want to learn. Habitat corridors are tremendously important. This is something that we work with people who own farms that we hold conservation easements on. But those corridors are not to be taken for granted. And everybody's yards, as well as those natural areas that they work on, can be a part of that. Churchyards can be a part of that. The list of properties, schoolyards, even airports and right-of-ways can be tremendous parts of a wildlife corridor that can just make such a difference for our entire environment. I'd be happy to take any questions if we have time, Dawn, but at any rate, it's been good to be a part of this great event.
Thank you so much, Krista. That was absolutely beautiful. If there are any questions, people can put that in the chat. It looks like we have, we have some tired folks here.
Hungry also.
They're hungry. That's right.
Get some nourishment before the evening program.